G'day everyone. Here we are sitting in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We're sitting on the ground at Manuka Point, I think it is. Just mainly to test out Active Sky, for the mod for Flight Sim 2020. Right, now headset's on. It just came out in the last week, so at the moment I'm currently running real world time and weather. It's late afternoon. I'll just make sure it is on real time. Here we go. So you can see that's what it's the default live weather, and the sim is thinking what the weather is, and now I'll inject the Active Sky. I've found running it that it just looks very flat unless you're on ultra for the volumetric clouds, but when you are, the difference between Active Sky and the default live, I think is night and day. For me personally, for backcountry flying, there's so much more variation because it's running off actual metas from all the spots in it. Then it sort of joins them together basically anyway between the two areas, so you get a smooth transition. Like, you can adjust how smoothly it'll change, because obviously if you have it on maximum speed of changing, it's instant, so you'll leave the area of one meta, go into the next, and then it will just change. Whereas if you've got it on a transition, it'll gradually change. And you can also see clouds blowing around with this weather mod as well. So we'll get warmed up. We're currently sitting in the Flyinside Bell JetRanger, which I haven't flown much of, so we'll take that for a spin. I've just been flying it a little bit lately, this 206 when I've been in, because we'll go into this in depth in another video, but just unpause everything. So you get it into the green. Just need to quickly clean my headset. Just fogged up because I haven't had it on today. Right. The pause button jammed on me. Okay, so now we're away. So we'll just maybe cruise out to the coast, just see what it's like, go for a bit of a fly. But yeah, being able to watch the clouds blowing around. First time I installed it, I went in the Commonwealth somewhere, and I was on a ridge where a bit of a saddle was, and I hadn't realised that's how accurate is the weather. And the wind was actually blowing the cloud past me through the saddle because it was quite a marginal day. So I'll try and get some footage of that at some point when the weather's a little bit more not so good, because at the moment it's pretty much a high over the whole country, so there's not much bad weather around. This headset just keeps fogging up at the moment. It's the first time it's been on today. And the other thing that I think is probably makes Active Sky worth it just by itself alone is the fact you can do historical weather. So you can basically punch in the Active Sky app on the desktop. You can put in any date you want. You can even change it to the sim time, so you can just change the clock in the sim and it will just bring up the weather from the metas on that particular day. So if you've missed out on a day where they had conditions, you wanted to try flying through somewhere, you can do it, and I reckon it's pretty cool just for that feature. So I'll just quickly flick to the outside view. So this is the Flyinside JetRanger. Probably doesn't have as much wear and tear as such in weathering and the textures on the interior as what Sim does. But that aside, everything else about it is night and day better, I think. This is more like DCS sort of / X-plane sort of level of physics for flying. Like, I wish it'd be a dream come true if these guys decided to make a Hughes 500 for the sim, or an AS350 with these sort of physics, because this is really good. Like, it's just like flying X-plane, but in MSFS 2020. So we'll just try and fly up this, maybe up this bit of a ridge up here. I don't know if we're going to be able to get too far today. There's just not really that much clag around. And the other thing, you've got to be careful with this, because everything's quite realistically simulated, like real good sounds. I'm not a huge fan of the JetRanger, but I got to say this is probably my favourite helicopter in Flight Sim 2020 right now. Like, even over and above the 500s, just for how realistic it sort of flies, and it just feels so fluid in the air. It does have its own little injection app that puts itself in there, and I wouldn't recommend it for beginners because it's a bit of a handful, but it's a lot of fun. It's sort of along the lines, well, up there with, you know, sort of the level of detail they put into the Nemeth Schweitzer 300. The R22 is a little bit similar, I guess, with it's been quite fluid with that last one that Council released, but this is, because it's using its own physics engine and not the default Microsoft one, it's something quite different. I'll just do a hard turn here so you can just hear the sounds of the rotors as we come around the corner. Let's try and get a bit of height so we can get across that saddle. Really stretching it out to the top of the green there on the torque meter, which is something you really have to be conscious of flying this in the sim. If you constantly abuse it and go into like over torquing, it will bite and it will shut down. Like, you'll get a message pop up after you've heard the turbine shut down, that and I don't know if it's recoverable from either, because it kind of seizes. It's supposed to do autos quite well and do simulate VRS as well as can be done in this sim, so I'll try and test those out another time. I think we'll just fly back into this valley and go back down and land, because there's not much really in the way of clag today. I'll maybe see if I can do one later in the week when it's a bit more claggy, because on the live weather with the METARs, and then when it's a bit marginal is when it really shines, it's at. I've seen a lot of videos where people were saying that they didn't think that it was any better than the default, but from what I've used it, yeah, I would actually not use the default stuff anymore. I'll just be using this app, because it's oh, there we go, we just rolled in with a bit of overspeed there. It was interesting. I have never had that before, but I just wanted to see what it would do. I'll see if I can even set up a bit of VRS just here. I'll just pull up to a stop. Got a good flat riverbed in front of us we can land on if we need to. We've got heaps of height, we should be able to get out of it. So now if we start descending, we've got to get up to 2,000 feet a minute. Now, see if I can just stop it with the... No, we're pulling in now. Oh, I got a bit of forward speed too, I need to pull that off. It's quite hard without a reference point just to make sure I'm vertically descending. Yeah, now we're in VRS. So now I just drop the nose. Just clear the trees there. I probably didn't realise I was over the hill quite so much. That was real close. That shows you how quick it can bite. You don't want that happening low level. Yeah, I thought that was not going to be a recordable video, that. Does it a lot more aggressively and intensely than what many of the other ones I've experienced in the sim do. just fly along these flats back to Manuka Point and we'll park up. So I'll just click live weather on again, just so we can just compare the difference as we're going. There's not much cloud around at all at the moment, and it looks very almost see-through. Like, I'm not sure what the actual forecast is down there. I know over Hokitika ways it's supposed to be some heavy rain on the forecast I saw, and I went over there and it was about the same as here. So I came inland because I thought there might be a few more clouds around being in the hills, but it obviously is a bit late coming through that front. So not the best one for showing off active sky because there's just not much poor weather around. Has a lot more wind and turbulence effects too that are injected in via the various wind forecasts that go with the METARs. So I'll have to play around with those a bit more in the hills and see what it's like. Across this end of the ridge and we'll head into Manuka Point. Yeah, it'd be just so cool to have a 500 with this level of detail to the physics side of things. Shaky on that because I stopped a bit too high above the ground there with the hover. The dust's a little bit distracting with the coloration of it. I think it's because of the... Yeah, it'd be nice if it was sort of a bit lighter colour rather than that sort of reddy colour. Probably alright if you're landing in the desert in Australia, but just here on the ground and the mountains isn't probably quite realistic. But other than that, it's pretty cool how it's just there when you're sitting idling over the ground now. I think it dies off as you lose RPM. Doors and things open on it. I'm not sure if you can remove them like Cowanson ones or not. Or you can click and add passengers. Can't add one for yourself, obviously. But other than that, yeah, I'm really enjoying this helicopter, and I'll do another video sometime to really show a bit more how much I like active sky, because I think it adds a lot, especially if you're a backcountry bush pilot. So until then, we'll catch you on the next one.